Hello and welcome back to Ulti.tv's coverage of the World Great Grandmasters Beach Ultimate Club Championships. We are here in Villa Seamus on the southeast coast of Sardinia, bringing you more action from the scorching white sands here. Continuing with the pool play phase, this is young legends from Germany up against a team we've seen a couple of times before, Borderline from the USA. Hello,
and nominally calendar.
And yeah, as you're right, and nominally calendar. Calendar? Let me put my teeth back in. Jesus, it's not even happy hour yet. It's Benji Rees alongside Ali Thomas once we cease the giggles. By the way, I have seen that the TG desk does actually do happy hour later in the day.
Nothing to do with our speech impediments right now. We are very professional.
Absolutely, yeah, 100%. And to be fair, you know, even if we haven't necessarily been sampling the local delicacies, it's difficult not to have a happy hour when you're out here, really.
It seems like it would be a missed opportunity if they didn't.
Yes, you've got to make the most of what's available to you, I believe.
So both of these teams having a successful morning. We streamed Borderline versus the Tragic Hips earlier today, 12-6. And the Young Legends went up against the Great Swedes and won that relatively comfortably, 12-7. So both teams had a good morning and presumably a good lunch and here for a good afternoon. Yeah,
a lot of the teams kind of cleared away from the beach because when the sun is out and there's not really much cloud cover today, it is absolutely baking out here. And there was a ferocious wind and it was absolutely no joke. And then, you know, 5 minutes before we come on air, it pretty much is now completely died out.
Yeah, it was blowing right in our faces, kicking up lots of sand. We were worried, I think, about the quality of Ultimate that we were going to see this afternoon, given how strong the wind was and how some of the throws in our morning games were struggling a bit. But it's very calm.
It really has leveled off, and you can probably see what effect it's had, because a lot of the sand, you can see it has leveled off. It's become a bit flatter where the wind has kind of whipped it flat. Obviously, when teams going through their warm-ups, they've kind of churned the sand up a little bit more. But I mean, it was quite a sight. We were kind of worried about, you know, would we be able to get the pole cam all the way up? Would they have to take down some of the tents, things like that? But thankfully, the wind has abated just in time for this game.
So we're kicking off in just a few minutes for those of you tuning in on the YouTube Live, or if indeed you're watching this game back. Please do help us out with a like, a comment, a cheeky subscribe, maybe tap the bell to get notified of when we go live in future. We've got the European Ultimate Club Championships coming up later this week. So lots of Ultimate action coming your way for free here on YouTube. So please do help us out to bring Ultimate to more people.
Absolutely, and you can do that, as we mentioned, by getting involved and interacting with us on YouTube. You can also find us on the socials at Ulti.tv, excuse me, on the Instagram. And as we mentioned, you can so support monetarily. If you are able to do so, it is greatly appreciated. You can find all the details in the description of the YouTube page and of every video, but you can also find more information at Ulti.tv, or you can search Ulti.tv on Patreon as well. And whether it's just a couple of dollary-doos that you can contribute, or, you know, all the way up to being an Ultimate producer like Patrick from madx, it's all greatly appreciated. You know, whatever support you can give is gratefully received. We had some more patrons come in over our lunch break.
And a special shout out to the family of the number 8 on the Young Legends team, Christian Lang, the Familia Lang. Thank you so much for supporting us. And also a special thank you to a list of people who have momentarily.
I've got the new patrons that we had over our extended lunch break. Yuri Tomaszek and Patrick Novak. Thank you very much for your patronage. Everyone who patronises us, it means a huge amount, be that monetarily or just by saying that we're not very good at our jobs.
And we are off. That is a long pull.
So Borderline are going to come out on offense. They're going right to left. As you look at it, what wind there is going towards the camera, but does not seem to be a problem there. A beautiful put for John Turbo Tory. And a beautiful start for this game for Borderline. They take a 1-0 lead.
Yeah, the young Legends player just sort of standing with hands on hips at the back of the end zone going,
Like, what do you want me to do about that?
Yeah. There is a reason they call him Turbo.
He can turn on the Jets, can't he?
The Winnipeg Jets. Although there are no Canadians on this team, as we mentioned.
Just going to look at it again. Yeah, the defender is you know, well out of the picture. Not literally, obviously. It's been framed beautifully. But they don't really have it play at the disc at all. And very kind of nonchalant little flip of the disc there by Turi. For the 1-0 lead for Borderline, Young Legends, they were very keen. They were here, you know, doing some throwing warm-ups 45 minutes before the game started, when the wind was fiercer and the sun was a little bit hotter. So I like that they were trying to adjust to the conditions nice and early. The question is, did they put too much wear in their legs?
Yeah, I suppose we'll have to see. I would be more worried potentially about throwing muscles getting tired, but if you've been throwing for 30, 40 years, they're probably quite well developed.
You would expect so, as Pirelli catches the first pull on offense. He finds Achenbach. I'm trying my best with some of the German pronunciations.
No, not bad.
Here's Pirelli. Pirelli looks deep for a shot of his own. It's Achenbach who's once more the target. Fox closes but can't get there fast enough. He lost his hand in the process as well.
Not the hat.
And going back to Pirelli, this is the most convoluted give-go I've ever seen. And then just a simple low-release break into the end zone from Achenbach. Finds Struber, and that'll be a 1-all scoreline.
Struber's been a real menace in the end zone so far this tournament, and as we saw there, he just did a little kind of fake in one direction and was able to get quite a lot of separation in quite a small space. We'll see it here again. So having just caught this huck, dumps back quite far to Pirelli, who then shoots a lovely IO up to very close in the end zone, and we'll see this here. He just slows down enough to sell his defender.
He doesn't need to be a really exaggerated plant, especially in the sand where you can really kind of dig that heel in. Sometimes just that little shoulder shimmy is enough to shake yourself free. You've got to be a bit more wily and crafty on the sand, I think, in order to get free, regardless of what the division is. But you would expect that, you know, great grandmasters, they probably have a few tricks up there at their sun-covering sleeves.
You would certainly hope so.
This pull is going to land out of bounds, and Furland signals the brick nice and early. He's going to bring it in from the brick mark, striding it down the sideline. There's a little bit of tape tied around the edges of the field to signal where the brick mark is.
Oh, it didn't come. Oh, it's taking it. Oh no, okay. Yeah, no, you're right. Sorry, ignore me.
He's just trying to work out exactly. It's difficult. It is difficult to pick out exactly where the tape is. So it's always a problem. Like, have they reached the brick mark properly? Because obviously on sand, you can't mark it on the pitch. So McConville, you could really hear the thunk and the doink as it bounced off the chest.
Not much more you can do as a thrower if it hits the receiver in the chest.
So Young Legends with an opportunity for the game's first break. Sitting this one out into space. Here's Schoenberg looking for the up line in a tight space. Catch is made by Kolstad. And a stoppage there for maybe a pick or a push-off of some sort.
I think pick sounds like what they're saying on the sideline.
Slap of hands, and it looks like we're good to go pretty quickly. They do like to look to Hertel as an end zone option. He's at the front of the zone now, and oh, he was free, but the handler had already turned. Now they're going to play a coming through for the dump is Logan.
Fakes the hammer.
Puts it back in the locker for now. Takes the up line instead to Klima. And over the top. Oh, the nonchalance with that throw. Love it, catching them off guard. Schoenberg catches the goal. First break of the game goes the Germans' way. Young Legends up 2-1.
Some really, really lovely end zone movement there. Just stepping behind the defender's back, getting incredibly free. We'll probably see it on the, or maybe not see it on the replay. It was a bit before the goal. But yeah, very fast on sand, these guys.
There was a moment there where Hertel made a brilliant cut because he just looked like he was walking away completely uninterested. And I think the defender switched off a little bit, and then all of a sudden he turned the pace back on, and oh, this is a lovely, just tossed backhand out into the space, and all the time in the world to reel that one in with an outstretched right arm.
Very casual, almost, from Schoenberg. Just reaching up, just one hand.
Act like you've been there before, which, you know.
Probably have.
I mean, they were the silver medalists last time we held this tournament 3 years ago, so evidently aiming to go one better here. This is a good start to this game. Pirelli with the pull. Fox will watch this one out of bounds.
Pirelli, by the way, is in fact not his real name, but apparently so few people know him by his given name that he requested a change.
There are those people, like, you just know their nickname, and after a while you're just like, oh, hang on a minute, I'm not even sure that I know what their real name is, because just the nickname is so familiar. Low release, oh, it gets a tip on the disc.
And it's clean. Wow, Fox patting Vital on the back there, saying, well done, you got me.
Because we know how devastating that Fox low release can be, but stuffed at the point of attack by Vital. And Pirelli picks up.
Ooh, slightly congested cutting lane there.
Scorching inside through the middle of the field, and it's the Captain McConville who picks up. What a D. McConville goes underneath to Bronson. He was practicing some thumbers in some pre-game throws, but it doesn't look like he's going to have that option here.
Reminder to everyone listening that Benji will buy a beer to any player who throws a completed thumber in the game.
Almost an indoor style throw, that one, just sitting it out into space for a receiver to chase down. But this one is spicy. It hung up a little bit there, and Pirelli was more than happy to gobble and snaffle that one away.
Nom 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 nom. Delicious disc.
Not that I'm hungry or anything. Genuinely, I'm not, for a change.
Disclaimer, please do not eat Eurodiscs. They are not good for your health when ingested.
No, but they are 100% organic.
That's true.
So maybe they are good for you. And you may have noticed with the flags floating around, it is a pink Eurodisc that we are using. It shows up better against the white Sardinian sand. So that bid from Bach is fruitless in the end. And now they look to get going with a high release to Bedard. Oh, there's a player wide open on the far side of the pitch. Completely busted coverage. I don't know how Turi was so open, but I don't think Bronson really cared.
He definitely didn't know. And so that's 2 goals now for John Turi for the borderline side.
He's been a good weapon for them early in this contest.
I also want to say props to Achenbach for wearing a backwards and upside down sun visor. Definitely a bold fashion choice.
I mean, that is old school ultimate fashion if ever there was some.
Can see him just on the left hand side of your screen on the far sideline.
I mean, what is it even doing at that? I guess maybe it's keeping kind of your hair out of your face. Sort of like a headband.
It's looking stylish, Benji. It's called fashion. Perhaps you've heard of it.
To be honest, not really. Like, I pretty much spend my life living in Frisbee kits, so it's just so comfy.
Certainly a style.
Right? I'm working with what I've got, which is a lot of Frisbee gear, to be fair.
Eagle-eyed viewers may have noticed that a lot of teams at this tournament have their whites, and then their dark is a grey.
Yeah, it's not the most glamorous dark kit, but I think they're trying to keep a dark that's still relatively light and distinct from a white.
Yes, and then, of course, grey for certain obvious reasons.
Oh, yes, right, I see. Yes. I'm with you. I'm with you now. I'm with you now.
Some gesticulating from the young legend side asking what's taking the pull so long.
Yeah, they just want to get going again. And they catch the pull and they swing it towards the far sideline. Hermiking breaks the force around, finds Herzl, so often damaging in the deep space, but doing his work under now. Shooting one deep, and oh, he trips over the tape.
Absolute heartbreak. He was so free, but just kind of got himself off balance and stumbled over backwards.
Yeah, that thing, it's always tricky when you're backpedaling and they're just going over your head, and Karlstad just didn't get that one right in the end.
Well, it's tricky because you have to give it enough height to get it over all the other players that you're throwing over, but also you don't want to zing it all the way into the back of the end zone. So a difficult kind of balance to strike. So
McConville will pick up the disc. taking his time to walk it to the front line of the end zone, just get a bit more breath back in everyone's lungs. And he has absolutely jacked this deep, but did not get any height in it at all. And Lelgen, he's going to pick that one up without too much difficulty. Now Hertel running a little bit of a give go, and a wonderful layout D to save it, because Hermeking was wide open. But Dick Dorf had other ideas.
Dick Dorf came to this tournament injured, but his injury seems to have sorted itself out.
Evidently the physios on the far side are doing their job, or the beers at the TD dent are doing their job either. And this one is down, sneaking it right on this sideline, pivoting, shimmying around, trying to attract that player towards the break side, and there's a bit too much physicality on the mark from Tim Kolstad, perhaps. Or is it perhaps further downfield with Hertel matched up against Phillips?
I think downfield is where my money is.
So Trevathan, he's got the disc at the moment, and they're just kind of a little bit of discussion about what the store count will be.
Coming in on 3.
High release. Oh, this is floaty, and it is dangerous. And it invited the traffic, and it invited the defender. And Lelgen had the answer to the questions the borderline were asking. And now Kolstad with a lasered forehand deep in the jump. He's agonisingly short. Hertel has it on the end zone line, but there's no one anywhere close to him. Fakes the toss off, and instead goes to get the sidearm, and it is hopped into the end zone by Kolstad for a 3-2 lead. Incredible
calmness there, just on the end zone line, watching your team sprint towards you. And just even when he had another player in the end zone, he didn't rush, took his time, and even took that extra second to throw the flick so perfectly. So we see here Hertel just standing. He sees number 37, fakes it off, has a quick look, no, you're not free, and then just sets and throws that flick. And Kolstad able to just hop it in. Often those are the tricky ones where you've got so much time and so much space that you feel like there is no reason to possibly turn over. And sometimes you can overthink it a little bit. But that time, cool is personified under pressure. Yeah, enviable levels of coolness. Right, especially in this heat. Should get him in the tent to come and cool us down. Honestly, like if someone could get like a big fan, like, and put some like a mister in front of it. I'm a big fan, Benji. Oh, thank you. It means a lot. I like that. That's not bad. So here's McConville. He and Fox have been they're very much a dynamic duo in the backfield. And something a little bit different now from the young legends defensively. Going with a zone look. 2 up front, 2 in the middle. And they've got to play a loitering in the deep space as well. Stretching it all the way to this sideline where Furland makes the catch. And Furland goes back to McConville. This lefty-righty combination in the backfield doing the damage, and this is an inch perfect put, sat on the wind for who else but John Turi, his third, and Borderline's third goal of the game. We're tied up once more, level pegging at 3 apiece. I love that little spike, just flipping it away from you, letting it spin into the wind. Turi is just so hard to cover in the end zone. You can see there how fast he's moving and how far away his defender is. He's just so good at setting up those deep cuts and getting free. I mean, the thing is, it's not just the pace, it's the timing. It's the angle of the cut. Because he's rather than going straight deep, you've got a narrow space at the back of the end zone. It's at an angle, so you've got a kind of a larger square to aim at. And also forcing the defender to kind of turn in an awkward way. And by the time they've got their hips kind of in the right direction to chase you, you're already a couple steps ahead. So much about playing good defensive positionally especially, is about kind of that hip movement, trying to mirror that. Can you open and close those hips quickly? It's a real skill. Bum to the danger zone is what I've heard. So you need to keep your bum firmly pointed in the direction you do not want them to run in. Interesting. Okay, that's good. I've got some padding back there. I'll bear that in mind. This ball is going to stay inbounds where it is caught by Klima. And now swinging it along all the way to the far side. In the middle, Schoenberg slides to the ground. Sorry, it's Lelgen. And now Lelgen puts it deep, looking for a receiver, but Kolstad does not have the pace. The compression sleeve on that right calf, clearly not enough. There are a lot of compression sleeves on calves in this game. To be fair, I think they're gaining in popularity. I think more and more people are opting for more compression gear, compression leggings, compression arm sleeves, trying to squeeze themselves down smaller.
The first time I ever saw someone playing with it, I played with Tim Morrill of Ultimate Performance a few years ago at Paganello, and he was wearing calf sleeves, and I guess he's a guy who kind of knows what he's doing in terms of physical performance with Ultimate. As this one is low, and Eric Bedard couldn't keep that one off the turf.
Yeah, I think intended for Brunson, but as you say, the sand got in the way.
And that's a bit of a problem on beach.
Certainly is.
Into the middle, they're trying to force them to go flat while the defenders can get set downfield. But it's a little bit static and a little bit stagnant. In the end, Hertel makes the underneath cut. Looks frustrated that the timing wasn't there. Stands tall, throws towards this sideline to Kolstad. And Kolstad rips it deep and rips it for the score. Peter Lelgen with the goal.
Yeah, incredible separation there for Lelgen. His tall frame just being able to, I guess, outpace the borderline defender.
You don't necessarily need to be tall to be a good deep receiver, but it doesn't hurt.
It certainly doesn't. And the not apocryphal saying, but you can't teach tall is certainly something I've heard oft repeated on the Ultimate scene.
Yeah, I've tried to learn, and it just has not worked. I mean, there are other things that you can do, and obviously, you know, tall receiver, good target, but it wasn't, you know, skying a pack of people to bring it down. It was he had the position and the throws out into space, and often kind of the best deep receptions are the ones where you box out nice and early. So actually, a defender doesn't even have a play at it.
Yes, definitely. Being tall and being good at boxing means probably pretty good deep receiver.
Fox catches this one at the back of the end zone. That is a phenomenal ball from the young legends. They're coming out in their zone once more, and Fox will just kind of wander up past the end zone line, looking downfield, but he's not finding players in space, so he takes a little push pass off to McConville, and McConville is kind of directing traffic downfield, and he goes back to Fox.
Looks like they're forcing middle, trying to neutralise those deep shots, but one goes.
And this time, once more, it is in stride. Not Turi for a change, but it is Frank Phillip who makes the catch to keep us tied at 4. I'll tell you what, this is tight, Ali. This is very tight.
It really, really is. I'm really liking this young legend zone. When they have it, when they get the force on quickly, it looks like they are able to neutralise those dangerous deep throws. But once it's swung to the far sideline and you can't catch up, that is a really...
it's a dangerous place to be.
Absolutely.
Seeing it again here on the replay as well. It's a wonderful put, and you know, so much so the defender knows there's not even a chance. All he's got to do is hope that Phillips drops it, but he doesn't even have to break stride, and that is the sign of a good put.
I'd like to see that being chased down, especially since the young legends have a significantly larger roster than Borderline do, who have exactly 10 players, which is the minimum needed for a team for this tournament, whereas young legends have an extra 4 to play with. Yeah,
20 is the maximum roster size. I don't think anyone's brought quite that. I think the largest I've seen is 19. As you mentioned, 10 is the minimum, and it's almost 9.5 for Borderline, because Dorf has been playing through injury for the past couple of games, and say playing through injury, he's out there at the moment in the middle of the line as McConville rips the pink Euro disc deep off the pull.
Build a house under that.
I like that. I'm gonna requisition that. I think.
I've also stolen it.
I won't tell anyone. Here's Lelgen. Goes back to Hermiking.
Got a deep shot, but doesn't fancy it.
They're just trying to play a bit more sensibly, perhaps in a tight game. On the far sideline is Staffansson. Staffansson finds an option. That is a nice reaching snag by Lelgen. Lelgen's got some air under this, looking for Hertel. Oh, Bronson didn't quite see it till late enough, and Hertel had position. And you can see why he's such a comfortable target for them deep, because he just reads the disc so well. And that is 5-4.
I think Bronson didn't really have a read on that. He sort of went up to try and get a D very early. And it was so early, in fact, that he was able to then go up again to try and get the D. But unfortunately for him, neither attempt was successful.
So Young Legends maintaining that one break advantage at the moment with the score at 5-4. And you see it again there. Where's the disc? It's one of those, make yourself as big as possible because you never know. And then, oh, there's the disc. And by that point, made another effort. but actually just wasn't close enough.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm laughing, but, you know, if you can't see the disc, you can do worse than jumping and putting your arms up just in case it's there, and you can get a no-look deep, which always looks very cool.
Right, there's no pass interference like you would get in the NFL, so the fact that your back is turned, that doesn't matter.
I don't know anything about the
I
NFL.
mean, Rob, who is actually currently not on campus, he's kind of marshalling the sideline. We were very much enjoying watching the red zone last night as that ball. He's flubbed a little bit. It wasn't dropped, but didn't deal with it nicely, and this is right at the back of the end zone for McConville.
I believe they call it Callahan territory.
This is very much indeed. And McConville on a high stall. I imagine he's going to probably rip this soon. Instead, he pivots out. Break into space for the Callahan! You called it! Achenbach just saw that one a little bit floaty and overthrown for Tori. And Achenbach was there. And all he had to do was pluck it down, calm as anything. And the young legends, wow, what a turn of events. They're now up 6-4 with a devastating Callahan.
I nearly jumped out of my chair. That was incredible. And my half with a German passport is very, very happy right now.
But, I mean, this is the thing. This is why pulling is so important, because a lot of the time we've seen players, you know, we've seen these pulls go to the back and they've worked with it effectively. But that time, young legends, they really haired down the field. They got the defense set early. And I think, you know, they looked a little bit cowed by the pressure, perhaps, did Borderline. This is why often you see players rip deep, so because it takes the Callahan out of position, and this time he just puts too much of it to the wind, and Turi, I mean, he's so calm. You would never have known the significance of that catch. And young legends putting a little bit of distance now between themselves and Borderline with a 6-4 scoreline.
It is also very good spirit to be a little bit nonchalant about a Callahan and, you know, not celebrate it.
You mean don't show it in the other player's face?
Yes.
But how else are they going to know that you caught the disc? No, I like, it is so easy to get pumped up, but I think, especially because it was not like a flying layout, it was just a misread and then over it, and that is some really nice heads-up defense actually by Herzl, because he was looking straight down the throat of Fox, but there is a foul on the throw, correctly observed by Ali Thomas.
Just can't take my eyes off Fox's snazzy gear.
I mean, it is definitely another look. It is an uncontested foul. It's getting the signals on the sideline.
So hearing the forces being called as ocean. That's one thing I love about beach.
Ocean or lagoon, I think, would probably be the options of this one. Looking for Herzl, and Fox makes amends. Here's McConville. Slight bit of outside in on that one, but not a problem. Turns, doesn't like Fox at the first time of asking, and just gets the little dish back to McConville. A little bit slow moving downfield. McConville goes to the box of tricks, pulls out the hammer, and Phillips loses his footing a little bit, and now another chance for young legends to break for half.
There are some really exciting matchups on this line to watch. Fox and Herzl, for example, but also McConville and his matchup are also very exciting to watch at the moment.
Maybe a bit of contact on the throw, but it got out cleanly enough. Herzl goes to his knees, gets his body behind the disc, makes the catch. Fox waiting, and they take advantage of McConville's face mask. Stephenson makes the catch, and that is a 7-4 half-time lead for the German young legends.
That's two pretty devastating points for Borderline, giving up a Callahan and then, you know, giving up another break. So a couple of them are kind of trudging back to the line. Hopefully they can hype each other up in this second half.
Yeah, the Borderline have it all to do in this second half if they are to come back and win this game. If they don't, obviously, as long as they can make the top 4 of the pool, we will see them in bracket play. Sometimes my tongue gets a bit too big for my mouth. I'm going to blame the hot sun and being a bit dehydrated. Would you believe that?
I would buy that.
Yeah,
100% buy that.
Because it is hot, let me tell you. Hot. Now, this is one of the other problems about giving up that little break train going into half, is that it's a 2-for-none opportunity for the young legends because they scored there, and they're going to be receiving the ball here so they can get 2 possessions back-to-back to just put even more distance between themselves and their North American counterparts.
There's a couple of Gaul players on the far sideline who are hopefully cheering on their compatriots on the Young Legends team.
Yeah, we were due to be streaming the Gaul versus America matchup here after this game, but that's been switched, so we will instead be bringing you Team Finland to their first appearance on the stream this weekend, or this week in fact, up against Flash from the UK. As Fox will pull here for Borderline. This one, it's a little bit of inside-out shape on it. Pirelli, he's had a relatively quiet game so far. The D-line have been doing the work at the moment. This one underneath finds Achenbach.
That visor.
What a look. And Achenbach puts it deep. Layout opportunity. Taken with 2 hands. It's Rüdiger Weitel who makes the catch. Oh, Rudy, that is beautiful.
Yeah, just again, the young legends are looking so solid right now. They've got these devastating deep throws. They're very confident working it under or between the handlers. And I think Borderline is starting to get maybe a bit tired in this heat.
They look a little bit rocked, I think, like they've had the stuffing knocked out of them slightly. The 2 receivers going there, one of them gives it up. I think, give the benefit of the doubt, that they knew that Weitel was there, and that is, I'm going to do a terrible pun here, am I allowed?
Be my guest.
That is ridiculous.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I wasn't lying, it was terrible.
Can I retract my permission?
Too late now. I've taken the ball and I've run away with it.
But I think Borderline also need to maybe try and force the Young Legends players under, because they had 2 deep players free there for that throw. So unless they were kind of giving up, knowing that they didn't have a chance, you know, really maybe trying to make Young Legends play a bit more small ball.
Yeah, just trying to force them to make as many passes as possible. You know, the sand just make even what would seem like a simple throw and catch does add a little bit of jeopardy into the mix. Ooh. This one goes out for Bedard. And Bedard opens up the arm. He's looking for an option deep. Hertel's got there and Hertel snags it away. One-on-one with John Turi. Great bid from both men. And it's Hertel in the end who makes the catch. Wow, what a matchup.
Absolutely incredible play here from both players.
And then Hertel, cool as ice, just simple gets it into play like he didn't make a ridiculous layout to get the disc back.
There's bodies flying everywhere now. Oh, that's a beautiful inside-out shot. Oh, wow!
McConville's trying it himself. All of a sudden, this game has exploded into life. And it wasn't a bad game before then. Oh, you can tell there's a little bit of gravel, a little bit of sand in the voice now. Such as the intensity of the game.
All the splashback from the layouts are reaching us here in the tent.
Here's McConville. Looks, a little bit of a no-look break to that far side.
That's some trust.
For Bedard, exactly. That's the confidence that comes with the chemistry of playing together for a long time. McConville finds Bedard, going to his knees at the front of the end zone. Borderline finally stopped the skid. It was 4-all once upon a time before the Young Legends got 4 on the bounce. Finally, Borderline are back on the board at 8-5.
God, Blinken, you've missed it with all of those Young Legends points. But yeah, that was an absolutely laser throw. Again, we've been talking a little bit about, you know, indoor pulls. That felt like a kind of indoor blade past a flood, just making sure that nobody could lay out, or if they did, they would have had to have lightning reflexes to get there. Yeah,
I mean, I've joked on this stream and on many other streams in the past about everything is open if you throw it hard enough. Because the window's always there. You just need to work out how hard you need to jam it. Well, I mean, I thought this one was going to be nicked away, and then waited for the defender to get back into position. This looks good, and then McConville flies out of the trap.
So much air.
What a grab. I mean, that combined with the Hertel layout on this near sideline before then. You mentioned as well that he really zipped and rifled this pass into Bedard.
Just that lefty flick, just.
I mean, it is zinged in there.
So a lot of spice in this game now.
That might be the best point we've seen all weekend so far.
Can make a whole highlight reel out of just that one point.
Right? If there was, not that I'm suggesting to RTTV that I have an idea, but if we could have like a point of the week, or like that has got to be up there, surely.
Definitely on the short list. Oh wow!
Wow, that was some layout, and it feels like it deserved more from Volker Lehmann, but in the end, touched too far, and now Borderline have a break opportunity, and they've not had too many of these. Phillips looking for an underneath option. He finds one. Well, maybe lost his footing ever so slightly, but he does make the catch.
Just making sure.
And Phillips, option on the near side. Here's Dorf. Couple of players in that near side of the end zone. One comes through, and from the backside for the Young Legends is Rüdiger Weitel again. He's all over the field.
He really is.
And yeah, not surprising to see a timeout. Let the players get their breath back and let us get our breath back as well. Thank you, young legends. That is very much appreciated. I can barely get my words out. Holy cow.
This is an incredible game and such intense defense from the young legends there. They were on the borderline players' shoulders throughout that whole point, and as you can see, paid off in that incredible layout D.
Look, we try not to be patronising about the fact, oh, look, it's great grandmasters. Isn't it cute that everyone's a bit older? Like, we get that, you know, sometimes we don't try to do anyone a disservice, but, you know, bids of this calibre, they belong in any division, in any world championship. They are just the highest level plays. And this level of athleticism is why these teams, why this tournament has been such a joy to watch. Like that one from the backside, just pinches it out of nowhere. God, Radicke Vitals, he's turned it on in some style recently.
I mean, I think a lot of these players are still kind of involved in a club level and not necessarily, you know, playing every national tournament. But some players on some teams are kind of coming out of retirement to play Grandmasters or Great Grandmasters. So I think the benefit of playing Ultimate solidly for 30 years is certainly showing for some of these young Legends players.
Right, they know what, and same with Guzmán players, so they know what sort of plays they can make, they know how far they can push their body. And this is part of the reason why I think beach is a great surface for this division, is because it is a bit more forgiving on your body sometimes. I mean, it's a lot of work, but you know, when you make those spectacular bids, you're not going to come up with, you will come up with a face full of sand, but you're not going to necessarily jar your knees or, you know, get a burn from the, get an abrasion from the surface.
Oh, you can get abrasions from beach. I've got abrasions from beach,
oh, really?
But yeah, I take your point.
Evidently, I'm not laying out hard enough.
I take your point on the impact, especially on knees. You know, playing on very hard ground can do a number on your lower body.
What is it the Italians call those abrasions? Is it a bresaola?
My Italian's not quite at that level yet.
Like bresaola. Thank you, Milano. The like the sliced meat, because it's got that same kind of dark red colour.
Oh, that's grim.
Well, it is on the one hand, yes. On the other hand, it's very descriptive.
Certainly.
We're getting that nugget of information from the Ulti TV Cusp documentary that had its premiere last night that we enjoyed watching in our accommodation alongside a delicious meal cooked by yourself.
Oh, stop! You're making me blush.
So disc is checked back in play here. Here's Vital. Nice. I mean, just so calm, that pop throw into the middle. Vital makes the crowd catch with two hands, fakes the up line. The tall figure of Vital finds Achenbach underneath. And Achenbach with the scoop. Well. His hands visor. I think he knows what he has done.
Oh no, he's so upset he's put his visor on the right way around.
I mean, there was an attempt. It should have been a thumber.
Struber just watched it fly over his head like, what are you doing?
It's the sort of thing where everyone just kind of looks around and it's a solemn shake of the head like,
that's fantastic.
that ain't it, Chief. Well, a little bit of levity to cut through some of the drama here.
Yes, certainly.
Gotta love it. Here's Turi. And Turi's looks deep. Well, often he's been the receiver, but this time he's trying to shoot deep himself, and that one is going to go comfortably out of bounds and kind of just sadly watched just drift away from Bronson.
The wind was very calm at the start. It's now picking up a little bit. You can see the Euro disc flags fluttering slightly, but not nearly as brutal as it was around lunchtime.
I'll be honest, I'm genuinely impressed that they all stayed up, because I mean I know that they were kind of weighed down, but I mean it was fierce.
They were leaning, to be sure.
Here's Struber, looking back for Achenbach. Achenbach, oh what a blade across the pitch! Bisects the defenders into the path of Pirelli. Not normally seen going deep, but quite appropriately, when he needs to, Pirelli has wheels.
That was a really, really lovely shot. It's always so impressive to me when a handler sort of sees a play on the direct opposite side of the field and throws over every single person, because, you know, obviously on the cam it's quite high up. We can see, you know, on the screen where the plays are developing, but having to look past and through so many people is a really tough skill to master.
Yeah, there's often so much traffic in that intermediate space that even if you see the pass, often, there's too many players there that you can't necessarily find it through the window. But, evidently Bach had other ideas, and this is one of the things that you get when you've played together for a long time, is that cut's going to come. And it's a slightly unorthodox cut as well, that handler from the near side, cutting deep beyond all the traffic, and I think maybe it caught the defender off guard a little bit.
Yeah, certainly wouldn't be surprised. So we are, I think that's now 9-5?
Should be 9-5 by my count, 35 minutes of the way through the game. 45 minutes is when the time cap comes on.
Gosh, it's going so fast.
Yeah, isn't it? This game is really going along at some pace. Here's McConville as young legends try and slow down the borderline offence.
The borderline players know that Fox likes it deep, but just too many of them going there at the same time.
And they're staying very calm, it has to be said. There are options open for the doubles. A little bit of a no-look there, trying to catch the defenders unawares.
He's done that twice now.
I like it. I like it. I mean, reaching into the metaphorical bag of tricks. The rabbit out of the hat, so to speak. McConville again fakes and then goes backwards to Fox. They're trying to stretch them across the pitch, but everything's quite shallow at the moment. There's no deep option to open up the space, but there is that trademark inside low release flick from Fox's. That is, yeah, I mean, you see what's happening. McConville's trying to clear down the sideline. The defender's looking at McConville, and Bedard is also there with the disc in his hand, so that's going to be a stoppage.
Yeah, just a little bit of a bump. Bedard, not a huge fan.
Checks the disc in on the ground, finds the player on the far side. So again, they're trying to stretch the play, and it goes deep. McConville, usually we see him throwing the scores. Now he's got one of his own. 9-6 the current score.
Yeah, a little bit of discussion between Stefansson and I believe that's Hertel. I think there was maybe a bit of miscommunication about who was covering which side of the deep. I think both of them seeming to be saying it was the other one's responsibility to cover McConville.
Well, I mean, that's the thing with zones is, sometimes they're just thankless, just kind of running back and forth. But that's what you're waiting for. A lot of the time, players will pick up those cuts. They'll pick up the movement. But every now and again, there might just be that miscommunication. You think you're passing someone off and the other person thinks you're keeping it. And then all of a sudden, someone's wide open in plenty of space.
But it makes for lovely looking points.
It's so nice when someone's, the what I particularly like is when someone just kind of stands there for a while and then everyone else moves and then you're free and it's like, yes, I've got the disc without moving. This is, for me, this is optimal.
Yes, it's the opposite of a zero-sum game. An infinite-sum game?
Yeah, yes, why not?
Might need to workshop that one a bit.
Yeah, hey, I mean, we came up with Galaxy Point after Universe Point, so we can definitely do with something with this.
And we've got Cake Pass.
Oh yeah, we did get Cake Pass today, that's good. This pool is, I can't tell whether that landed in or out.
I believe that's out, just beyond the tape.
You clearly have better eyes than I.
I also have some sideline help.
Aha. That does help.
Get there with a little help from a friend.
So it's going to be brought in by Peter Lurligan.
Just jogging up to where the tape is affixed to the orange sideline.
So there is going to be a brick. McConville is on the mark. Players getting moving already, so they're just trying to create a little bit of space before the disc is checked in the end. It's the underneath cut from Vital. He's looking for Pirelli once more, and Pirelli has the juice, he has the gas, beats Fox to the back of the zone. Nice little slap of hands, good show of spirit there from Fox for borderline, and Young Legends 4-point advantage is restored at 10-6.
It's incredible to see these veteran handlers throw such options. I feel with a lot of deep cuts, the option that you often see is a kind of floating lead pass. So to see something that's really bladey and means that the defender just has absolutely no hope of catching it is really, really awesome to see. So I'll see it nice, kind of shot through the middle, and then there's that deep cut. And the disc's so high that the camera can't even pick it up.
It's a very indoors style throw, isn't it?
Yes.
And I know they do play a decent amount of indoors in Germany in the winter, so...
Yeah. Yeah. I imagine down south it's not particularly warm either, so welcome the chance to be indoors and play.
And I think as well, because of the smaller fields, indoors is kind of generally a bit less movement, and especially if you're handling, you can kind of just like, I'll put this up to some tall people. I'll put this, like, it's a lot more, I think, of a match-up game indoors than it is on other surfaces.
Definitely. Although quite hard on the knees, I imagine, for great
Yes,
grandmasters.
to be fair, it's quite hard on my knees as well, but I think that's a lot about the shape that I am in.
So 5 minutes left of this game.
We just hear the hooter and the announcements in the distance as this one caught on the near sideline by Phillips. Demonstrative fake. Goes around, goes low. Oh, what a snag that is by Bedard. The continuation, will there be the play? Oh, I tell you what, if Martin was just turned over the left shoulder first, he might have been able to keep up the speed, but just lost sight of the disc a little bit and he slowed down. But oh, what a layout from Bedard.
Absolutely incredible save. And yeah, heartbreak for Martin. Just, I think, expecting that IO shot out into space on the far side of the end zone. Just was looking the wrong way for a little bit too long.
It's just one of those things that, yeah, just again, not quite on the same page. And sometimes when it feels like it's not your game, that is what happens. So now perhaps Young Legends can put even more distance. It feels like the game it's already within reach here, but 11-6 would almost close out the door for good. Hettel on the far sideline goes underneath to Achenbach. And Achenbach down the sideline. Oh, easy money. Taking that one all the way to the bank is Kolstadt. But the 11-6 lead, and Young Legends 2 points away from victory here.
Just Kolstadt watching it float all the way into his hands for the pancake catch. That's a beautifully, beautifully weighted throw.
It's not bad, is it?
No. Certainly wouldn't kick that one out of bed.
Certainly not. A nice gentle touch, isn't it?
Oh, so we'll see it again here. I was trying to think of a phrase, not to be sniffed at was what I was going for. But
yeah, no, I wouldn't kick it. It's nice. It feels like it's got a gentle caress of the frisbee deep.
There we go, just shadowing the sideline all the way down and then coming in perfectly for Jens.
And you
Achenbach.
mentioned right at chest height. Discs very rarely get nicer to catch than that.
Very true, except for when they hit you in the chest.
Hey, that's too accurate. I'm not having that. This one, we all thought about the bid, but well, there was obviously some sort of miscommunication because there was no one there, and we saw this earlier in the game actually, that Young Legends got a break train going and Borderline couldn't stop it. Could we be seeing that again here at the end of the second half as we did at the end of the first?
I wonder if there's a bit of fatigue creeping in, because that's an uncharacteristic error from Ed Fox.
Especially, as you mentioned, with the short roster. But Lang's not really finding much luck deep, so he goes back into the handler set. And then that does the trick as Lehman's throw. Bid comes in from Furland, but it's not in time. I think it's Struber, who we haven't necessarily called his name that many times this game because everyone stepped up on this roster, but he does show that he's a reliable end zone threat for the 12-6 score.
Yeah, making that catch under a huge amount of pressure. You know, he had Furland right on his back, and you know, I imagine if there'd been a strip that might have been imagine if it had not been a completion, might well have been grounds for a foul call, but able to hang on for dear life and keep the goal.
So 1 point away from victory here as we do see a replay of the snag. Yeah, you're right, just a little bit of contact on the back. He tries to roll over slightly perhaps to lessen the impact, but good to see both players up and slapping hands and okay. Also, we saw Christian Lang doing a lot of work on that point. Shout out to the family Lang as well, who became patrons overnight. Thank you very much for your support. If you do want to become a patron, you can find the links in the description of the YouTube videos, or you can go on the website www.ulti.tv, and all the information is there. And whether you pledge, you know, $40 or $4 or whatever the currency is, wherever you live, it is all greatly appreciated.
4 yen.
That's not very much, is it?
It's not very much.
I was thinking, my go-to example was always 4 lira, Turkish lira, because that used to be like,
Turkish lira,
because
okay.
that used to be millions. But yeah, shout out as well to Stephen Cameron, who is a ultimate producer, patron for a couple of weeks now. Thank you very much for your contribution. It's an ultimate producer. That is a huge commitment, and we really appreciate everyone who's put their money behind us. It genuinely does mean a lot that we are able to bring you tournaments like this, because I think this, was certainly what we've seen today deserves to be covered and deserves to be streamed.
Oh, hell yes. Heck yes. Sorry.
Hell yes is fine. How British are you?
So it's a family stream, Benji.
Is it? Oh, fair enough. This one, oh, hello. Hello, McConville finds Turi. He was so active early in the game, and it may be the fact that they've been able to shut Turi down a little bit more as the game's gone on has been why Borderline have fallen away a bit, but that time he finally shakes his way loose in the end zone. Pinpoint put from McConville for 12-7 as the time cap goes, but we know it's game to 13 anyway.
That's a much more characteristic point for Borderline, you know, much more similar to how we've seen them play earlier in the day. And I think credit to the defensive pressure for Young Legends for really making it so hard for Borderline to run their usual offense and make it as, you know, smooth as it normally is. It's been really disruptive.
So if they can hold their offense here, this would be the last point of the game for the Young Legends. I was going to say it's a strong-looking line out there, but isn't it always with these two teams? It is the strength in depth. Like, you feel like they have taken this number of players, partly A, because, you know, travelling in a pandemic is not necessarily easy, but you don't feel like there's anyone who's there to make up roster spots. Even Dorf, who we haven't seen a huge amount of because of his injury, when he's been out there, he's been effective as Pirelli catches that Dorf pull deep, and he finds Achenbach, one of many standout players this game for the Young Legends, as is Vital. Has the disc now, he finds Lang on the sideline. Lang to Vital, oh, he bubbles it and nearly rescues it at the second attempt. I mean, I love the effort, even if it came to naught.
Such commitment. It's still up has never been more applicable there.
Here's Seth Martin, sneaks that one through to Phillips, just kind of nestles itself in his outstretched left hand. And now Phillips looking for the upline cut, but doesn't like it, gets the mark on the floor, and what a bid by Achenbach. I mean, evidently having the visor the right way up maybe has done the trick.
I mean, you saw how close Achenbach was to Dorf, and I was thinking as the throw went up, like, oh, I hope it's out in front of him. But no, Achenbach able to just sneak in front.
Doesn't get it on, doesn't get the location of the disc on the right shoulder, and then Vital with a deep put. Christian Lang catches the winning goal, and that will do it. What a performance. Consummate professionals. The Young Legends dispatching Borderline 13-7, and the Young Legends look good for a deep bracket run again here.
Yeah, really not surprising that the finalists from 2018 are putting on a clinic in Beach Ultimate here in Villa Simios. Just some incredible plays from both teams, and gosh, so excited right now.
I know, right? And the best part is we've still got one more game today.
Yay, more Frisbee.
So that is going to be in just under 45 minutes, 5 o'clock local time, last game of the day. That has been a change if you missed this earlier. It was going to be America versus Gal. That has now been switched, so we are covering Team Finland to their first appearance on the stream this weekend, up against Flash from the UK, who we saw dispatch Curry Island. We saw them beat yesterday.
I think so.
Or was it Gal? Hang on, I can look at this because I've got the results here. We just go through the highlights. Yeah, they beat Gal 11-3 in their third game yesterday. And Flash, you know, they tried to downplay their hopes coming into this week, and you know, maybe they can find themselves with a spot in the bracket. We will delve down in a bit more depth when the next game starts.
Thank you so much to everyone for tuning in to our coverage on YouTube. Please do remember to like, comment, subscribe. Do something physical to the bell, whether it's clicking it, tapping it, striking it, don't mind. Whatever you do, you will get notified every time we go live with continuous free Ultimate coverage. And we will see you in approximately 45 minutes at 5 p.m.
Absolutely. Happy hour?
Happy hour.
Sounds good to me.
Work to cover more events in the future and to bring more stories and live coverage to the eyes of the ultimate world and beyond.
Alti.tv